Can we get some music up in this bitch? What do we got? All right. Playlists. The fuck is bright music, guys? Cool. That works. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna have a look at these decks here. This is a classic Scorp v Phoenix matchup pre-Disciples of the Voids. It's gonna be a little tough for our Phoenix friend, I think. Scorpion here. Some interesting omissions. We've got no Bayushi Kachiko, which is curious. He does have 2 Censures and 3 Fawning Diplomats, which is really going to disrupt Phoenix. Especially using the old box. It really nullifies the influence of that old Stronghold. Everything else looks pretty decent. He's got only the 1 charge, but he's running 3 Bonsais. 2 Clouds. 2 Policy Debates. Cheeky Mono, which I like. And then if we look over at the Phoenix deck. Pretty standard Phoenix Tempo deck. This sort of deck got a big boost from the new pack. I've been playing a version of this, axing Satoshi and stuff, with the new pack, and it's been awesome. This particular deck, though, he is running Satoshis, but no Sentra, so the entire purpose of this character is to fetch Kanjo. Yeah, it looks like a good deck to me. He's running 3 for Shames. He's got sufficient Courtiers. So, all right, let's jump into the game. How you doing, Bit Metal? That's Luke, yeah? I think that's your online screen. All right, so this is actually going to be very, very difficult for the Scorpion. 3 Forgotten Libraries is pretty sickening. I'd imagine that Rudo's probably going to want to try and break one of these provinces. Okay, and we see Suki against Liar and Manipulator. So interesting that Rudo's gone for Fated Up Dudes. I think he's going to want to go into turn 2 with a little bit of a board advantage, given that he knows that VoidCircuit can't really play much, and he's only running the Shrine Maidens and a Wanderer from hand, so... And playing a Fate Worse Than Death in this sort of a turn is just, like, not worth it. So it makes a lot of sense to me that he's faded up his dudes. Oh, yeah. My stream title. I always fuck that up. Give me a sec, fellas. So, yeah, so just to reiterate, this is a last chance qualifier top 32 match. Man, I click edit on my title and it just reverts immediately. I don't know what's going on. This is a top 32 last chance qualifier match. So this tournament is to determine who's going to get placement into the Invitational happening later this month or early next month. So lots at stake. Okay, so we see a military fire conflict. This is definitely to try and dishonor this character. And it's a good ring selection, and he's run into Manicured, which is not a big deal given that he's got 6 fate. Yeah, I think flopping 3 Forgotten Libraries, like, it kind of implies that your turn 1's going to be a little underwhelming, but it's going to more than make up for it. And then in regret phase for turn 1, you're allowed to just pitch. I'll probably discard one of them, depending on how turn 1 goes. And we see a charge. So Manicured Garden triggered and then charge. So yeah, so he's threatening the break. I mean, in an ideal world, you break both 2 of the provinces. And he does have the Manipulator to kind of equalize that card disadvantage a little bit, which is nice. So if it's me, I would have already played the Assassinate, probably. So that signifies to me that he doesn't have it. Scorpion, that is. Oh. Okay, so it's the Phoenix player, VoidCircuit, plays the Assassination on Manipulator. And then we see a return Assassination. Cool. Lots of dirty tactics being employed. Okay, and we see a Fury that gets immediately edicted by the Liar. Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. The Phoenix is running 3 Furies, 2 Let Goes, so... This is the advantage of actually having dudes turn 1, is that you can play cancels like this. I think as long as the Phoenix can... If the Phoenix has more than 1 province break, then it's a bad turn. But if he can only lose 1 province, going into turn 2 with a 3-card hand advantage and a 6 fate or 4 fate advantage is a pretty big deal. So we'll see how he goes. Mayushi Liar back to Honored State. Smart play. It means that he can replay Forged Edict if necessary. So now, do we see a Shrine Maiden? No, so he's passing. So either this means he wants to use a conflict character on defense rather than for his own conflict, or he's just waiting for the Mayushi Liar to be expended before he goes and has a scout. It's never a good feeling in L5R when you can't scout a single province, especially against a nasty row like Scorps, but... okay, so Public Forum. So he's not getting through this. He has no way of preventing this. So if I'm the Phoenix player, let's assume he breaks this province. Okay, so he plays a court game to dishonor the Liar. Smart play. Keep dishonoring them courtiers, man. And we see it pass. Oh, Pump the Glory. Very clever. So this Earth Ring, with the Earth Ring and the Manipulator going off, he's actually going to have swung 2 of the cards, the free cards that he got back the other way. Okay, so he plays his own court games, gets back in there. I think if it were me, I would keep both of these. What would you guys do? I think with honor totals being as low as they are, with both players playing assassinations and some unopposed conflicts going through, these, you can't get these back, right? Like, he's not going to cycle his deck. So this is a big source of his card draw engine. And the bids are going to tighten pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. So I would be keeping both of these. We'll see what he does. Alright, so ScorpKing gets the favor. Which is a big deal, because he's actually running 2 Censures. The Phoenix player, on the other hand, is only running Satoshis and Kanjo. He's not actually running any tricks on the conflict side. So we see Satoshi. That is really interesting to me that he only plays with 1 Fate against a deck that has 3 Fate worse than deaths. Playing a 4-cost character with only 1 Fate when you have 8 Fate behind, it's a little. I don't understand the reasoning personally, because it's hardly likely that this Satoshi is going to have Fate knocked off him through effects or Void Ring. It's a little bit of a risk. Satoshi really is not great against Scorpion in general, in my opinion. 2 Glory. His effect is often ineffective. And we see, this is kind of interesting, the way that Rudo, aka the Scorpion King, is playing his first 2 turns. He's actually spending a lot of Fate. He's not afraid to kind of swarm the board a bit, and it looks like he's going to put on break pressure early. That's his strategy going forward, given the first turn flop. 50% chance of hitting the dupe. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's he saving his Fate for? Display of Power, he's running 2. Like, all of his conflict characters are 1-drops. Alright, so we do actually see an exchange of honor for the bids. The Scorpion player's actually gone down to a bid of 3. And VoidCircuit on Phoenix is bid 5, so he's actually down to 4 honor, but he does have a 14 hand size, which is a pretty big edge. This is really scary for the Phoenix player, running into this Scorpion row. I think you're going to want to use Meddling Meteor to initiate a conflict and then have Satoshi just sitting back. Probably going to want to deny. Maybe he goes for a Void conflict, deny the Void Ring, get a Fate. Air is also looking good because he's only got 4 honor, which would potentially bring him up to 6. It might be the case that Rudo is going to go for a bit of a dishonor pivot. Now that he's got the Blackmail Artist in play with a Fate and his fan on it. He might actually be looking to. I mean, he's got Province Break Pressure, which is really nice. If you already have that, then it's much easier to pivot to a Dishonor Victory condition. Alright. Yep. So this is why I just don't advise sticking your big guy face first into a province. I understand why he wanted to do a military water conflict. This is because then this guy's taken out of defense. But this province row is just too sickening to do that, I think. I think that's probably a mistake. This is going to make this turn very, very difficult. So, like, the Scorp guy, he can Shameful, play it for shame, and then duck away, and he's still got 3 characters to use. I just don't advise you people at home to use your big dude when you're revealing the first province, because the Shameful Displays is such a huge fucking swing. How's everyone liking the new Phoenix pack? I'm fucking loving it. I'm loving playing Phoenix. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so we see it for shame. So this is kind of interesting. Does he think he can win this conflict? Because I'm not seeing how he wins this conflict without, I guess, a charge, maybe? There's the charge, and it gets censured. So I talked about this before the game. Having 2 censures and 3 Forged Edict is like a wall of an anti-event ion shell. It's pretty brutal, especially when you have fated events get cancelled. Like he's had Fury and Charge get cancelled so far. Okay, but he does have the second charge, so now he is threatening. But like, what's the likelihood that he actually wins this conflict, right? All he needs to do is play 1 Dishonor effect on KD and she's a 0. And there's the Way of the Scorpion. Yeah, this is kind of going how typically the Phoenix v Scorp matchups went prior to Disciples of the Void. And even with Disciples of the Void, it hasn't improved that dramatically, I think. It's much better, but it's probably still unfavored. Unless you can get Tadaka out early. Oh, wow. So he's actually going to let him win the ring. So he's played 2 charges and a Fine Katana. And the net result... Oh, no. He's still ahead. Yeah, he's got to play another for shame. And he's moved the Dishonor token smartly over. So he's going to have to play yet another card. So this is a 5-card investment, and he's still not winning the conflict. And the Scorpion players played the 2, the Cancel and the Way of the Scorpion. This is why running into Shameful Display fucking sucks. And we see a policy debate. So Kaede is getting rap battled by the young rumor monger. And this will be interesting to see how the bids go, because the Scorpion player has only got a 1 skill lead. But he's got VoidCircuit down to 3 honor now. He's just paid it an extra honor. So it's a bit of 2 versus a bit of 1. And that ends in a draw. And we see a Supernatural Storm. So this is the 6th card. The 6th card out of 14 being dumped into this conflict. This is rough. Oh yeah, I should have F'd 11 a long time ago. There you go, boys. Thanks, Eric. And there's a Fury. I just think the likelihood of this conflict actually working out is just so low. I would much prefer to have seen a poke with the Mediator. And fuck it, poke political. And then just leave Satoshi back, and then you at least get to defend on your terms. I mean, this is going to spell the end of this, right? Okay, that last card, the Storm, actually did force the Scorpion player to play a Fury, which is kind of nice. Like, trading a Storm for a Fury is okay. The other cards spent are a little bit excessive. And now, given that he's paid the extra honor, he is in a lot of trouble, because this Blackmail artist is going to swing in. They're going to go for air. If Rudo has a conflict character, he can also do an initiate a military conflict as well. I think I'd like to see a political air conflict. This is smart. So he's keeping the Beishi Liar back. He also always has the favorable ground to move in if he needs. And he's got an on-paper skill lead over this Mediator. But having this guy back means he can defend against the Mediator. Yeah, it's never good when it's turn 2 and you're down to 3 honor. That turn 2 bid was really curious, because like Scorpions normally you don't want to bid 3 on turn 2. because you want to keep your stronghold ticking over and keep that advantage going on. But Rudo decided he had enough cards in hand to deal with the threats and went for it. Okay, so we're seeing court games. Court games to honor, which is interesting. Kind of signifies that he doesn't have it for shame. And we see the reverse court games to honor. So, I mean, at this point, there's no shame in ferrying in some cavalry, I would say. Unless he's got another card in hand he'd prefer to spend. I think this is the time to use favorable ground, though. Oh, let go. Let go works as well. And +2 glory, and then the liar. So, reasonably procedural conflict going on here. So he's going to lose 1 from Kato, and he's going to lose 1 from Air and 1 from the Blackmail Artist right here. So he's going to be down to, at the end of the regroup phase, unless something changes, he's going to be down to 0. So he's got to make something happen. He needs to get off a... Okay, there's a cloud. That will help. And this is kind of why I don't like playing Let Go on Fans. Because the whole point of this conflict was to win with the Blackmail Artist. Anyway, that is a game-saving play for now. We'll see... see how this shakes down. I think VoidCircuit's still going to need to play a conflict character and try and get a Fire Ring win. He actually has played 9 conflict cards this turn. He started the turn of 14 and he's down to 9. Down to 5, sorry. So he's spent 9, which is crazy. Against the Waves. Oh yeah, we knew he had that. What am I saying? So I guess you go for Fire. It's got to be Fire. So we're seeing signs of life. Now the question is, do you re-honor Satoshi? Probably not. I think you got to remove this honor hit. Eric's saying it's a lot of cards to win 0 conflicts with. 0 conflicts with, yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, so that's the 10th card this turn that's been played. The problem is, right, like this play, all it does is keep the Phoenix alive for a little bit longer. And now the hand advantage is equal, and he's got a huge fate and honor lead. He is going to have a bit of a better board. Mediator's not going to be triggered this turn. And the Scorpion is going to retain favor, which is pretty big. It's going to mean that Satoshi flipping a Kanjo is really not going to have an influence until at least the next turn. And his censures are still going to be turned on if he does draw them. That was a very expensive turn for the Phoenix, and all he managed to do was really stay alive, which is a damn shame. Running into Shameful Display is just so brutal. It's like 2 ring effects, right? Fucking brutal card. Alright, well, we see a Sukune, so if VoidCircuit can manage to survive this turn, and not have her clouded, could be a bit of a... This is the card that can help him turn it around. Pretty good flip. Plagiarist hits the table. So currently that's an against the waves, which is pretty huge. It means he can stand himself for free currently. Or bow the Solemn Scholar, which does... So this is interesting. He's paid for the Scholar, but not Sukune. I mean, Sukune is not going to win you conflicts, and maybe he's thinking, because of her full glory, so maybe he's thinking, well, I can't afford to buy a guy who's not going to win me conflicts this turn. I'm on 2 honor, which I understand. No miracles yet, Mage, but maybe we'll see one this turn. So the winner of this match will advance to the round of 16 in the LCQ, which is pretty impressive. And then I believe if you win your top 16, you get in. You get through to the... Because I think the top 8 will get a place in the Invitational. Alright, we got a favoured niece. I've been very impressed with the Scorpion player's fate management. He's always just had just enough to threaten a fate worse than death. And he's also had like a decent sizable board the whole game, which is quite uncommon for Scorpion play. Like normally you're dealing with an undersized board. But he's managed it nicely. That second turn bid really threw the Phoenix player for a loop, I think. And at some point you got to ask yourself, like, is it worth bidding the 5 when I've already got 9 cards in hand to get to 14? Or I'm okay with like a 2 or a 3 bid. Okay, so straight away he's copied against the waves. This is a smart call. He can like wait for the adept to choose a guy to covert, then bow. Assuming it's a Shigenja, bow that guy or ready himself. Very versatile card to copy. Yeah, Rudo is otherwise known as the Scorpion King, aka CGI Dwayne The Rock Johnson from The Mummy 3. Shout out to the makers of The Mummy 3. Fucking masterpiece. What happened to Brendan Fraser, man? That guy's a fucking good actor. Okay, so pretty smart move. Just going to throw in the plagiarist. Worst case scenario, he pokes, loses the conflict, gets some fate, and then readies himself for the defense. VoidCircuit does have enough to display a power, but if he gambles with that, if it's like an Earth Ring or an Air Ring, he could potentially cancel the display and then he just loses. So he does go for Void with 2 characters here. So this is smart. This is preventing that 3rd charge from being played this turn by destroying this province and discarding the character with a first conflict. Political conflict is pretty wily. I like it. This may be the only conflict he goes for. We'll have to wait and see, but I like it. And I believe Satoshi hasn't been used this turn, so maybe we'll see something to help him. Man, watching these games back, like this particular game, because it's in the last period of legality, there's no Disciples of the Void. It makes me realize just how much juice Phoenix got. They really feel like a complete clan now with what they have. Which they felt like they kind of had like 2 half decks up until that point. And now it feels like they've got 2 legitimate builds, which is really cool. I'm looking forward to see. The rumor is that Lion's next, which if that's true, I'm very excited to see what they do with that. I want to see how many 2-cost, 2-1 guys with 2 glory they print for us to play, because that seems to be the go. All right, so we're seeing a policy debate, a pass into a policy debate, 2 display of powers, a fury. So I think you just let him have the displays right now. He really can't afford to not defend a conflict with 2 honor. Cloud the Mind. Bonsai. Fury's pretty good as well. Storm's going to give +2/+2. That's also pretty decent for 0. Eternal Mage is saying if you have the Edict, you definitely don't take away the display. Yeah, I agree. And even if you don't have the Edict, you can fake like you do and bluff, which is exactly the mechanic that I love, which Policy Debate nullifies. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you can bluff having the Edict and just let him have the displays. He does have 2 of them, which makes it a little tougher. He does take Fury. I agree with this choice. That's probably one of the primo cards. Either that one or maybe Bonsai. Actually, Storm is just categorically better than Bonsai at this point because you can't play the second effect. Mage, you got me. You flipped that one around on me, buddy. I'm not going to read it out because it's going to make me look like an asshole. All right. Plagiarist goes off. Successful hit and run by the Scorpion. Satoshi now has 0 fate and will be departing this world. So a side effect from getting Void Ring is this is going to be a hit of honor loss at the end of the turn as well because he is dishonored. So something to keep in mind. So at this point, I think VoidCircuit's probably only got one option, and that's to try and win an air conflict. Or at least deny the air ring from his opponent. He's going for a military Earth conflict. I think this is just a mistake. I mean, risking losing on defense, losing that air ring is just too... I don't know about this. What do you guys think? And we see a defense from the niece. Pretty smart. You got 2 glory. Might as well get some use out of the shameful. And we know his hand. So what's he got? He's got a +2/+2 and a +2. So he's actually got a fair bit of buffs. For shame, we'll end this entirely though. If you count on display of power with 1 honor after the 1 for unopposed and he's got to cancel, you just lose the game. Maybe he's got to though. I mean, the Scorpion has played 2 of his 5 cancels, but he's been through 15 cards, so... if I'm Rudo, I'm going to be niecing for a cancel too, if he decides to not defend. We see the bonsai, so he's tied up the skill count. The fact that he hasn't snap played it for shame just says to me that he doesn't have one. So he's deciding if it's worth spending some other card on defense, maybe a bonsai. Maybe he's got to decide whether to spend bonsai on his own conflict going forward or this one to prevent the earth ring. A little bit of a tricky spot. I think I probably would have risked going to a different province though, because honoring the niece is pretty rough. Yeah, I think that is true. He can play both displays, but I mean, I think you're really treading water. You're treading quicksand at that point. Um, it's going to be very, very difficult. The other thing that the Scorpion can do is go for firing, and then it's like, I don't care if you display. You know, the honor exchange is equal. And then he'd be second player next turn. So, all right, so we see a Fury. Fair enough. That is the second Fury for our Scorpion friend. I think he's had a pretty reasonable draw, but I think it's actually been his play that's been elevating this game. Last turn when the Phoenix spent 10 cards and got one ring effect off, I think that was the backbreaker. When you get these games to like a bid one situation, that's when cards like Plagiarist just double it or more in value. Being able to add a free card to your hand every turn, and it's usually a good one because events are pretty strong. I mean, it's good when you're bidding 5, but it's even better when you're bidding 1, I think. That is a fair point. J-Ro points out that he's got a Mediator, which he does cloud. So, oh, okay. This is where you're wishing you saved your Against the Waves to bow his Adept rather than stand your Plagiarist. And then you covert this guy. Okay, so he does have only one card remaining in hand, so he doesn't have enough to cancel 2 displays. So maybe you go for the Ring of Fire, and then if you chew through 2 displays, it is what it is. Like it's an even honor exchange. You still might get the province, or maybe the Phoenix just tries and defends. I think you try and covert the Adept because then VoidCircuit's got a political conflict left. Covert the Adept. This guy's only got 1 military skill. And only 2 political, and he's got 2 glory. So if you have 1 dishonor effect, you'll get him out of the fight. The one Sotomatic saying the 1 bid's awesome with new Phoenix box. I agree, man. The bidding meta's got to change. I'm excited for it. So he's actually going for Water Ring. I think this is fine. I mean, like, you're just taking your time, right? You realize that it's highly unlikely that you don't have to win this turn. I mean, you don't have to win as soon as possible. I did that in one of my, I think it was my top 4 match for the Season 4 Cup. A lot of the chat was like criticizing me for playing conservatively on the second to last turn. But like, I was in such a commanding position. I was like, why would I take a risk? I've got all the time in the world. It's a timeless format. And then I won the following turn. I think sometimes it's okay to just take a conservative route. This is fine. And he smartly coverts the Adept. So this Shameful's going to have less of an influence because the Mediator is already honored. And the Yojimbo's got 0 glory. So the one worry I have... Okay, VoidCircuit's just saying he's misclicked it. That is annoying. If you choose, if your guy's honored and their guy's just in a regular state, and you click choose a character to honor, you can't actually do it. That ain't right. They're gonna fix this up. The one thing I'm worried about with going forward is that the Phoenix pack hurts events but doesn't do much for against attachments. And so I think that these already dominant Voltron decks are going to stay dominant. That's my worry. But I'm really enjoying the Phoenix box. It's a lot of fun. Okay, we see a Bonsai. So he's going for the break. Actually, he didn't need to use it twice, that's for sure. This is just to stop the storm, I guess. Nice. What a flip. Signs of life for the Phoenix play, maybe? Ooh. Kind of sucks he had to use his box there, because otherwise he would have been able to pump the Adept and take favor. Oh, no, probably not anyway, because the niece would have been readied. Well done. Saved the province, and he's got a Kanjo and a Shameful, so this province ain't being attacked for the rest of the game, probably. Although next turn, Kanjo's not going to be on, because Scorpion player is going to be winning the glory count here. And then if I'm Rudo, I'm keeping this Fawning in my lineup. Just to guarantee it. Just in case the game goes on a little longer. I've been enjoying some of the new, like Path of Man. I've liked. I've had Path of Man censured like twice in a game once. It's pretty cool that you can play, like, if you have 3 of them, you can play all 3 from one conflict resolution. Clarity of Purpose seems a bit broken. I've been enjoying spamming that. Curious to try that out in Crane. Like Crane Seeker of Air with 2 Clarity of Purposes, and then just like whatever other good stuff you want. Maybe Against the Waves. That could be kind of strong, I think. Crane got a lot of splash options, actually. And then, yeah, some of the other cards I like. Tadaka's, I don't really like his effect. He's very, very strong, and you know, but I don't really like it for the game. I think Karmic Twist is a well-designed card. Really cool. Alright, so our Phoenix friend pitches Kanjo. Fair enough, I guess. Seeing this, you're just never going to get the favor. What's the topmost event here? Bonsai. So Bonsai is copyable by the plagiarist. I gotta give credit to VoidCircuit for hanging in there, man. Like, he has fought back a fair bit. He does have a 4-card hand advantage now, which is amazing that he got it to that point, to be honest. So, I mean, he wins Airing first. I guess he's, like, back in the game, right? He's still down 2 provinces, but he's at least not dead. I'm running Benton's as a one-of Soda. It's a good option to have against Scorpion. It's not great against other clans, really. It's cool because you can play these one-off spells in the new box, and you actually get 2 uses of them if you do manage to see them in a game, which is really nice. Okay. So it's actions on Rudo here, and he's just deciding what he wants to buy. I'm going to F5 this shit because I'm worried that I'm DC'd. So let's just have a crack. Cool. No, we weren't. Okay, so he does decide to buy the plagiarist. 2 plagiarists, that's pretty gross. So the way this guy works, because of the way that Max works, one of them can copy a bonsai, and so can the other one, but he can only play one of these characters' abilities in a singular conflict, plus he can play one from hand. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, plagiarist is pretty vile, man. In when you're bidding low, fuck, it's good. Going for that Earth Ring over air, you're seeing the fruits of that labor now with a 4-card hand advantage as opposed to only 2. Pretty interesting. Let me see a Prodigy. Prodigy pass. Fair enough. Moving to bids, we expect... Well, VoidCircuit's cuffed. He's got to go for 1. Do we expect the Scorp to bid for a few more? He does. He's realised that the Dishonor victory condition is going to be off the table for now. He has leveraged it quite well. He has broken 2 provinces and prevented all of his from breaking, which is nice. J-Ro, you talking about getting 2 plagiarists? I run 3 plagiarists in my Scorp deck. The card is just complete ownage in the mirror. Really good against a lot of clans, man. Phoenix Crane. Well, I don't play the Yoga Outcast, and so I fill that in with this guy as my Shigenja account. I don't know, you'd have to see my list, but yeah, I'm definitely... I love him. I'm running 3. He's got great traits. His stats are a little low, but Scorpion, whatever. You got other guys with high stats, and then that ability, man. Whew. Yeah, I'm playing 2 Yonako and 3 Hiroe. Okay, yeah, this is something that I'd love the Jigoku devs to work out. If you have 2 characters of the exact same name and you use an ability on one of them, you don't know which one's which. So the Fated Plagiarist has copied Bonsai. So there you go. I think Kanja kind of came 1 turn too early, although it did save his province from being broken. So Favored Niece, he's going to pitch the Assassination. Makes a lot of sense. And he pitches a Meek Informant. Also makes a lot of sense. Niece is also very good in these situations. We get like 3-4 cards in hand because it effectively increases your effective hand size, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Cloud on the Fated Plagiarist would have been nice. But he's elected to deny the extra event for this turn. Sacrificing a little bit next turn. Okay, so he's given the Prodigy Covert during water, and we're going to see a water conflict. I'm assuming it's going to be military. Still going to be a tough one to win. If he's got a Supernatural Storm, it'll be a little easier. Card's really, really good right now. Actually, he does have one. We know he has one. So, Pilgrimage. Always bad when you run into 2 Void provinces against the Seeker of Void first. Oh yeah, that is a very fair point. JRO3 is just saying in chat that he passed through in draw phase. Yeah, you're better off playing the Cloud in draw phase. Absolutely. Very fair. Very fair observation. Prodigy gets Katana. We're back to breaking. Do you guys think this Scorpion player went a little too hard on the Dishonor victory condition, or do you reckon he balanced it well? Because the game got hard again. Like, next turn and beyond, it's going to be tougher. 3 of these characters leaving play. Alright, we see the Plagiarist is using his copied Bonsai and a pass from the Phoenix. So the ring will be cancelled, the province will be saved. But he's going to get how many keepers? 1. What a low roll, only 1 keeper. And the Prodigy stands. So that was a pretty successful conflict for VoidCircuit, I would say. Nicely done. Okay, so we can deduce what this 4th province is. That's going to be Meditations, and there's going to be Rally. So I guess you could do a military conflict at Meditations pretty comfortably right now, if you're the Scorpion. Fire's pretty good here. Void is really good. If you don't need the Fate, I think you go Void. Cards is preferable to not cards. Yep. Winning is preferable to losing most of the time. If VoidCircuit can't hold off this break, though, that is going to be Stronghold exposed. Alrighty. So the decision is on VoidCircuit. And he's going for a military fire conflict. I think this is smart. Fire had a Fate on it. Fire... dishonoring the Prodigy is pretty big. I can dig it. And we know that 2 of these cards are displays of power, which are going to be dead. Which really hurts. Carrying 2 dead cards when you're bidding 1 is really, really, really vile. That's why Favored Niece is so good when you get the bids low. So good. Alright, it's going to be an all-in defense, apart from the Prodigy who's been coverted. This 3rd province break is the one that's really crucial to prevent breaking. Like, sometimes you have to make plays that are going to, like, set you back 2 turns just to defend that province. Because it's just so crucial. Me and my metamates cracked open Disciples of the Void, had a bit of a launch party down here in Melbourne. We got together, drank some Jack Daniels, played all the new stuff. There were a lot of Phoenix mirrors. We played the new cards against a few of the established decks. But we're working through figuring out the new landscape for our upcoming Kotai season. We got one in Melbourne beginning of June, so like a month, maybe 6 weeks. And then I've got one in the United States in about a month in San Francisco because I'm going over there for other reasons, but I'm passing through San Fran at the right time. So I'm still deciding what I'm going to play. It's a pretty tough decision, but I'm really enjoying the new decks. What do you guys think about the Kamis? I had a game yesterday where I was playing Scorpion and I managed to dishonor a player using 2 Kamis during a Ring of Air conflict, which was pretty hot. So we see a defend with 1 skill and then pass. So he is giving up the meditation, the third province break, which is pretty dangerous. I guess he wants to win a Void conflict on attack and clear his board. That's what I'd be doing. I was analyzing. I was talking about the Kamis with some of my metamates, and what I realized is that at its worst, the card is 2 fate for a mediocre ring, or it's 2 fate and it gets assassinated or whatever. But at its best, it can actually get you over the line. I think that's why it is its best when Dishonor is a realistic victory condition for your deck. I think if your deck's straight up Conquest, it's not going to be the juice for you. That's my gut instinct about it. But like getting a double Void Ring off on attack with Scorpion with a Kami is fucking savage. I've done that a couple times. I think if you're getting Void Ring, if you're getting Earth Ring, or if you're getting that last Air Ring to win the game, obviously the card is worth the 2 fate. It's pretty cool. And in Scorpion, I'm a little more open to including 1-ofs or 2-ofs or just random stuff. Because of Favored Niece, I'm still running 3 Nieces. I've been trying Kami in Crab with Scorp Splash, like Dishonor Crab. It's pretty good there too. Alright. Actions on VoidCircuit. He's going to decide how he approaches this second conflict. He's got political remaining. I think he wants Void. He's going to need to do Void. I think you go Void at Shameful, I guess. You can't afford to hit Meditations. Actually, you can. Shibuya Jimbo can cancel Meditations, so you can. Probably go over one of the other ones then. Secret Cache is pretty horrible. I think if they're playing a Cloud on your Kami, that's a win for you, personally. It's also kind of like a Miramoto's Fury sometimes. Like if they're attacking you and you have a Ring of Water selected, or they have the Ring of Water selected. So he does go for the Shameful. Fair enough. The Yojimbo can still cancel the Shameful. This is tough for Rudo because, I mean, we've only seen the one conflict character which you just discarded to a niece. If you've got a conflict character in hand, maybe you do decide to defend either with the Plagiarist or you put the guy into play. But you know he's got Supernatural Storm and 2 displays, so the Supernatural Storm would put this guy into a position where he's breaking. Yeah, I think the Kami is a sometimes food. I think certain decks are going to benefit from it. I think Dishonor focused decks are going to benefit from it more. I think, for example, in a Conquest deck, you never want to play it during air conflict, so it's no good there. Ring of Fire can be really important against certain clans. Void is probably the primo one. Paying 2 for like a targeted mono is kind of good, I guess. Yeah, what you can do in the Secret Clans is you can play the card from hand, attack Void, and then either you force your opponent to commit enough to win, in which case you just kill the Kami and get the Void Ring effect anyway, or they don't defend and you just let it through, and you get the ring for favor. It's kind of like a Death Seeker in that way. You kind of you threaten the ring effect. If they decide to defend, you still get the ring effect. It's really, really nice. Okay, so we see the Supernatural Storm and Essentia. Hey, he does defend. That's curious. And he passes? Surely you want to use the Shameful Display? Unless you're waiting for him to play court games, maybe. The thing is, we know what his hand is. It's 2 displays. Okay, as far as I'm aware, I believe that's a huge mistake there. Rudo has actually spent 2 cancels on the same event. This is a Jigoku bug. Uh-oh. I mean, is that even legal? Because the interrupt... The second interrupt can't actually target it, right? Yeah. I mean, should we fix this now, do you reckon? Should I tell them? What do you reckon, Eric? Should I tell them? I mean, what do I do here? Alright, I'm trying to get it sorted out. I think it's... I'm of 2 minds. Like, in one sense, you want it to continue, but that is a complete game state error, right? It's an illegal game state, so... It's not like it's just a bad play that you accidentally clicked. Thankfully, no like significant action had happened afterwards. It was just pass sort of thing. So, all right, they fixed it up. Thankfully. JDL's an absolute workhorse, man. I've contacted him at all hours of the night, and he immediately replies to me, which is really nice. He's pretty good bloke. Okay, so man, I mean that was pretty impressive. It's been a pretty impressive turnaround for the Phoenix. You're still down 3 provinces to 0, which is tough, but you're out of the complete danger zone where you're gonna like lose the game. I'm just going to double check to make sure that Raleigh is the water province. Yeah, it is Raleigh, so Raleigh's under the box. Alright, so Shoju hits the deck. He just wants to maximize his political skill here. He's going to poke military, get it, waste the rally, and then go hard politically. I see the Yojimbo being killed by Shoju in the near future. Yeah, I would have let that double cancel pass. Like, if the players didn't say anything and it was a legal game state, but it's not, right? Because the first interrupt removes the conditions for the second interrupt to be met. And it wouldn't. The second interrupt doesn't have a way to change the game state. So it's why it can't be played. Alright. Well, game's getting tighter. The Phoenix has done a good job of sort of hanging in there. In a timed format, he's clearly going to be losing tiebreakers at the hour mark. I think it's been, I'm not sure exactly how long this game's been going for, but I'd say roughly an hour. Let's have a look. A little over an hour, maybe. So that's something to consider. But this is an untimed format, of course, so we can go for as long as we need. All right. Okay, so no pre-complications. So I expect this will be military air, just to feel out the rally, probably with the plagiarist or the rumor monger, probably the rumor monger actually. Rumor monger will poke military air. Actually, maybe yeah, either of those. Military air it is. Why air? Because it's got 2 fate. It's interesting we haven't seen a fate worse than death played at all this game. Very curious. So we see the rally. This rally is probably going to be kept military, I guess. Yep. Are you guys still playing Sukune with the new good stuff? I still think she has a lot of merit. Tadaka's like clearly just a 3-of though, so it makes it kind of tricky to squeeze in so many 5-drops. And they got a lot of good 4-drops as well. They're really pretty top heavy. In my Phoenix, I'm running like 3 Embrace the Voids for that reason. And Path of Mans. I love that shit. So we are just waiting on VoidCircuit here. J-Ro3 saying that Tadaka has kind of homogenized Phoenix decks. Yeah, I think it's just replaced. I think Phoenix decks were more homogenized prior to the pack, but I do agree that that card is like way above the curve, and he kind of. I really hate the effect. Like, I think I hate Guest of Honor as well, but I hate Tadaka more. I think he's very, very strong. I think I'm playing a single Secluded Shrine in my Phoenix just for the mirror. It's interesting that he even defends it all here. I guess. Oh, okay, so you got to defend just in case you got like a bonsai or some shit to break. Pass. So now we're gonna see water conflict. Probably military, because if he goes in... Thing is, you need to re-honor this guy, or he can't actually defend against Shoju at all. Because he just gets sniped. It's kind of tricky. Maybe you go for like military... I don't know, you gotta go for water. Military water. And he is going to uncover another province, which I agree with doing. Meditations doesn't do anything. Secret Cache is kind of nasty though, but... Man, running into Shameful, what is... He's done like 4 or 5 conflicts there. It's just a losing strategy. There we go, he's hit the best one from... Oh wow, he's actually gone for an Earth conflict. Alright, well this means he's probably gotten against the waves and he figures... He's just got to defend a conflict anyway, right? I don't know about Earth over Fire though. Fire seems better in that case because you can re-honor the Prodigy. Ready to go. Curious decisions. Maybe he feels like he's fucked either way and needs to get... Okay, the reason why he's going for Earth is the Solemn Scholar. That makes a ton of sense, because he can nullify 7 skill this turn. Doesn't defend and passes, so he is going to get this one off. William Jr. in the chat. What's up, bro? Yeah, fair enough. It's fucking late here, man. It's like 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., so I missed that one there. Okay. So there was a charge. That would have been a good play. Charge for Diplomat. Censure, and then the Plagiarist has copied the charge. That is horrible! Plagiarist, man. What a card. So he is going to suck in probably the Mediator, probably the best defender remaining. Ugh. You suck in the Mediator, you remove his fate with Meditations. That's vile. Yeah, Assassination would fuck him up, but he has played 2, or he played 1 and discarded the other with a niece. I'll just see if he's got a third. Most Scorps run 2. Yeah, he's only got the 2. I'm running 3 Assassinations again in Scorpion, and I'm loving it. That card is so good. So good. Yeah, that is worst case. I mean, the only reason he was able to copy this is because of this Plagiarist, right? Bit of a risk playing the charge, actually. Discarding the mono, that's not a big... It's inconsequential at this point. Okay, so he is going to be able to use the Solemn Scholar's ability here. But he's still going to have a lot of skill. This is going to be a... This is going to be a very threatening final conflict. He has 6 skill aside from Shoju, and Shoju can kill both of these guys. Yeah, I think you're right, Bill. I think a lot of people don't agree though. But 3 assassinations versus 2. What are the benefits of having 3 over 2 cards? Well, a card like Assassination, you're rarely going to be able to actually afford to play 3 in a game. So the third one is effectively a dead card, but you're trading off that dead card for an increased likelihood by 50% of hitting that card when you need it early, which is when you need that card. So it's an interesting discussion. Similar kind of thing with Fury, right? Fury is dead as the game goes on, but you need to see it early to have its maximum effectiveness. So running 3 is smart, but if you run 3, the third one's often dead. These concepts are very interesting to think about. Jury's out, but I think 3 is good in Scorp because you can regain honor with your stronghold. That can kind of help you get to a dishonor victory condition. All right, so you see a 13 skill Void conflict. Now, even if the Scorpion doesn't win this turn, next turn is going to be really, really hard because he's going to only have 1 character left against a Shoju and a Rumor Monger. Going to be real, real tough. I mean, can he even defend? Alright, if he's got a Fury, he can actually... He has 1 Fury left. He could Fury the Liar and bow Shoju with the Scholar and then get his own conflict off, maybe? Oh, we know he's got an Edict, though. So... Oh, no, he did play his Edict. So, well, we don't know he's got one, but he might have one. He's got 1 left. He's actually managed to play 4 cancels. It's been pretty rough. So yeah, he doesn't defend. He knows that if he defends, his characters are going to die. I think that's a good point, Gyro. Like if the honor drops low enough, then Assassination's even then Scorpion. I agree, but if you're running, there we go. So he's actually played in against the waves offensively, which is nice. But if you're running Favored Niece, then the third Assassinate, or the second if you can't play it, is no longer dead, right? You just get rid of it and get a new card. I also like 3 Assassinations in Crab. And I like bidding lower as well. Alright, so he's prevented the break, but it still is... And he's got the display, I forgot about that. Very nice. Good play, man. That's a good play. That is a risk, though, right? If he's got the third forged, you lose the game. Because this guy doesn't bow, and then you've got 6 skill, breaking province. Bit of a gamble, but I guess he felt like he just had to take it anyway. His character's going to get pinged by Shoju. I mean, I gotta take my hat off to VoidCircuit. He has turned this into an absolute slog when it was looking very, very bad very early. It's always hard to dig yourself out of a dishonor hole like that. So, I guess it's got to be Ring of Fire. The question becomes, though, like, how long before he can start taking provinces, if ever? And that's the worry. Surviving isn't enough, right? And the Scorpion is going to be able to steal an honor at the end of this turn. After these 2 characters leave play. Phoenix finally has favor, but he's not running... he is not running Censure, and his Kanja has been binned. Sadly. mean, if he doesn't use this, it's just a error, right? He's saying he forgot the mediator. Was that mediator clouded? Or was it the other one? Yeah, it's pretty far away. I would say personally say no. Like you're in the fate phase. I would just say no. Mediator not being a reaction makes it harder to remember on Jigoku. In person, it's not that big of a deal. I would just say no, bro. It's like 2 phases later. He had that entire last conflict plus post-conflict actions to take it. I wouldn't do it. It is harsh, but that's how the game is, man. We're going back to the start of the playlist, boys. It means it's a long one. Mm-hmm. Alright, let's have a look at these flips. Sukune is kind of nice. He is first player here, so he can go straight up for that Earth Ring again. If he felt like that was a successful strategy. This has been a long one, boys. I'm just going to take a... I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Just going to grab a bev. I will be back. Don't go anywhere. Alright, we're back in action. So we see a student, Suki, and Manipulator get played so far. The sweet sound of a canned carbonated beverage. Out comes the niece. And there's a snap pass from VoidCircuit. This game turned into a real slog. It was looking like a beatdown for a while. I think the only victory condition on the table for VoidCircuit is Dishonor at this point, which is very, very difficult to get off against the Scorpion. Because you're just never going to break 4 provinces. Well, you got 9 cards in his Dynasty deck and stuff. It's just not going to happen. So, he's done a good job surviving, but his primary win condition, I imagine, with this sort of a list is Conquest. And that is now off the table, which always makes it hard. Water conflict is pretty big here, because you get 2 keepers. You get to bow. I guess the manipulator is not a big deal, but you do get to bow a character and honor a guy. Earth is also pretty fucking huge if you can get Solemn Scholar. He's probably going to go for Earth again. Because getting Solemn Scholar online is going to mean that Shoji is not going to count his skill. Part of me wishes that this last chance qualifier would have been new pack legal. I really would have liked that. So Military Earth, just trying to turn on that Solemn Scholar's ability again. It's amazing when your 1-drop is your game-saving ability. So funny. There's the Wanderer. The sneaky 1x Wanderer has hit the table. Interesting. Favored niece, yet getting rid of that attachment hate. No use here. We actually haven't seen a single for shame come out for the Scorp. Kind of unusual. No, we see one. And it gets immediately cancelled because he actually targets the Shigenja. Uh-oh. It's pretty bad. Shrine Maiden. He loses Assassination, Let Go, and a Fury. None of those cards are that impactful at this point, so it's okay. Three to 3. Do. To be honest, these sorts of games, these game states where one player is hard defending for, you know, what is it now? It's been over an hour and 40 minutes. These sorts of game states are why I'm glad for a 60-minute time limit. Like, I don't feel the need for the game to go this long. Having said that, this game has been very well played and an interesting puzzle. But in general, philosophically, I just don't like those very, very long games. Like, construct your deck to be able to be in a winning position in an hour, or don't play the deck. That's my opinion. I really like the chess clocks idea. It's not practicable in live play, but for Jigoku, like 30-minute or 45-minute chess clocks is pretty sweet. So we see the first conflict character played of the entire game. Add to Shadows hits the table. It's pretty smart. I mean, if this is the last bit of juice that the Phoenix player has, then preventing this Earth Ring is going to potentially enable a Stronghold break. And we do see a pass. So this guy's presumably going to go straight back to hand now, I imagine. Nope, he's going to save it. Fair enough. I played some games with the chess clocks, and like I was winning games having used like 14 minutes of my time. So I don't know. I know certain strategies take longer, and I understand that, but there is a social contract with these games, and if your game is taking 2 hours and the vast majority of the time spent is you and not your opponent, it's really unfair. But we are in a timeless format, so all of that discussion is irrelevant for this particular game. And we do see a political air conflict. So Shibuya Jimbo has used his ability. So Shoju is going to be able to throw darts around. It is kind of a shame that he's spent his 2 for shames out of hand. He's not going to have him for this conflict. So he's just defended with everyone and passed. This is curious because if the Scorp just passes, he won't because he's going to use his Shoju. But if he wins this conflict, he can then return this to his hand and then go for like unopposed for his second conflict, which would give him the honor hit he needs. Okay, so Suki has been wiped from the face of the earth. Oh wow, and he only needs 1 point of skill to be able to win this. No, 2 points. 2 points. He does have the court games, so that is going to wrap it up unless... That's it, VoidCircuit passes. Very well done. Very tough matchup for Phoenix, especially pre-Disciples of the Void. He did have a very harsh couple turns, first 2 turns, especially that second turn where he spent 10 cards to win 1 conflict. But yeah, from then he really dug his heels in and defended well, did VoidCircuit. And congratulations to the ScorpKing for advancing. Well played. Thanks to you guys for sticking around and watching. It was a bit of a long game. I did enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed it too. And I'll see you guys around for more L5R games here and there. Alright. Peace out.